Welcome to our YouTube channel dedicated to exploring the latest insights and opportunities in the world of finance and investments, with a special focus on currency revaluation, gold and silver investments, cryptocurrency, and make money online opportunities, and more. If you're interested in staying up to date on the latest developments in currency revaluation, particularly the Iraqi dinar and other currencies, best to subscribe to this channel. Please note that the content on this YouTube channel is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the opinions expressed on this channel are based on our own research and personal experience. We strongly recommend that you do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. Also, just before we go any further, this channel has a weekly giveaway of 100 Dogecoin. To enter, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, like this video, and watch this video till the end, as we will be sharing a random hashtag keyword daily, and then comment hashtag the keyword with no spaces in between in the comment section. Good luck! Now let's continue with the significant news of Iraqi dinar today, so stick till the end of this video. In today's video, we're exploring a critical topic that's been making headlines: the proposal to float the Iraqi dinar to address its fluctuating exchange rate against the US dollar. We'll break down what this means, why it's important for Iraq's economic reform, and how it could potentially lead to the revaluation or reinstatement of the dinar. Stay tuned for an insightful discussion. First, let's go through this important lengthy article. And please be advised that the Google translation is sometimes confusing, so make sure to watch until the end so we can expand on the article. The title of this article is Floating the Iraqi Dinar, a Solution to Fill the Gap of Its Troubled Price Against the Dollar. The stability of the Iraqi dinar has been facing major challenges for years, as it has witnessed price fluctuations that have not stabilized, especially with the rapid rise and very slow decline of the price of the dollar, in addition to a gap between what the Iraqi Central Bank determines and what is sold in the parallel market, especially in banking shops that do not adhere to according to the instructions of the central bank. In order to avoid the volatility syndrome and the gap in the price of the Iraqi dinar against foreign currencies, some experts believe that the solution lies in a kind of surgical operation for the country's monetary system that may be painful, but it achieves long-term monetary stability for the national currency through float. The cash selling price, according to the central bank, is 1,305 dinars per dollar, while the price for transfers abroad is 1,310 dinars per dollar, and the price in the parallel market is about 1,450 dinars per dollar in mid-May, according to local media, while it reached levels of 1,600 dinars per dollar in previous periods. For months, the Iraqi authorities have imposed restrictions in their efforts to control exchange rates, restricting all commercial transactions within the country to the Iraqi dinar, and established a new mechanism that subjects external transfers to greater scrutiny. Iraqi economic analysts who spoke to Al-Hurra website, some of them warned against taking a decision that would lead to floating the dinar, while some of them believe that a moderate policy could be taken that suits the Iraqi economy, based on floating and stabilization at the same time. Is the flotation policy compatible with the Iraqi economy? Advisor to the Prime Minister for Financial Affairs, Majar Saleh, believes that floating the currency price does not suit the Iraqi economy, especially since it is a rentier economy dominated by foreign currency reserves. He explains in statements to the Al-Hurra website that the economic vision that wants to float the Iraqi dinar to end the gap between the official price and the parallel price may be possible in an economy in which the free market alone influences a movement of the balance of payments, and not in an economy in which the rentier government sector is dominant and generates reserves foreign currency. He added, the monetary authority in Iraq alone is the main source of supply of foreign currency that meets the desired demand for foreign exchange in the local market. Sale believes that the demands for flotation inevitably mean adopting the prevailing exchange rate in the parallel market in order to achieve the goal of stability and balance in the official exchange rate itself at a new exchange point that the market will reach at the end of the assumed flotation policy and return to stability again. The flotation scenario also means the withdrawal of the monetary authority as the main central offerer of foreign currency and its replacement by new forces of free market makers, which certainly have only a weak, limited supply of foreign exchange, according to Sale. He points out that these forces carry an uncontrolled package of inflationary expectations and are called in the economic literature the forces generating inflationary expectations, which will give dominance to the supply forces of speculators who own limited amounts of foreign exchange, matched by an open demand for foreign currency from the market side exceeds what is offered by at least more than 10 times in our estimate. Councillor Sale described this policy as unruly as long as the central government supply of foreign currency will be absent from the market. We will not obtain any equilibrium point in the exchange rate that flotation seeks except with a widespread deterioration of the exchange rate, as long as it is carried out by forces generating inflationary expectations and a severe rentier economy unilateralism. He warns that if the exchange rate moves in a market that is incomplete in terms of productivity and its compensation for the required supply of goods and services, no one will know how much the new exchange rate resulting from the flotation will be, which will be accompanied by a prior wave of inflationary expectations, the trends of which are difficult to control, which may push monetary policy makers to intervene with excessive foreign reserves and unjustified waste in foreign exchange to impose a state of stability. According to the World Bank, Iraq has 145 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, which are among the largest crude oil reserves in the world. But Iraq hopes that the country's oil reserves will exceed 160 billion barrels, according to what the Minister of Oil, Hayyan Abdul Ghani, recently announced. What if the Iraqi dinar was floated? The claims that have appeared every now and then for years calling for floating the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar are strange, and most of them are made by people who are not specialized in economics or monetary policy, according to what Professor of International Economic Relations Abdul Rahman al-Mashhadani confirms to the Al-Hurra website. He asserts in a decisive tone Iraq cannot proceed with floating the dinar's exchange rate. The evidence for this is all the agreements concluded with the International Monetary Fund since 2004, and the reviews praised the stabilization of the exchange rate by the Central Bank of Iraq. Al-Mashhadani added that there was a study by experts at the World Bank during the past years that recommended raising the exchange rate, noting that even then, these recommendations cannot be taken into account because the World Bank is concerned with what is related to economic development. But following up on the recommendations for monetary policies is taken into account if it was from the International Monetary Fund. In its latest review on Thursday, the International Monetary Fund praised the efforts of the Central Bank of Iraq to tighten monetary policy and strengthen its liquidity management framework. He explains that the real gap is in the wheel of production in the Iraqi economy, as the majority of goods are imported from abroad, which means that the flotation will cause a spiral in price rates to become significantly high and affect the marginalized classes, indicating that such a decision cannot be taken as a matter of politics, cash only, as we must consider the burdens it will impose on citizens. Al-Mashhadani confirms that what has been applied in other Arab countries does not mean that it can be applied to the Iraqi economy, suggesting that the exchange rate will become at the levels of 5,000 dinars to the dollar, as the central bank has lost control of exchange rates, leaving them to float. There is a fear that floating will cause social problems, as salaries will erode significantly, which may threaten new classes to slide into poverty, while a class of merchants, politicians, and businessmen will benefit, who will benefit from the state of instability that will result from this matter. Al-Mashhadani agrees that floating in the end means that the parallel market will control exchange rates, but it will not achieve the desired monetary stability, as the central bank will then need to print more local currency to keep up with demand in the markets, and the government will need to increase salaries and allocations for aid packages. The Iraqi government advisor, Sale, attributes the reason and existence of a gap in the dinar's exchange rates against the dollar between the official and parallel markets to external factors imposed by the compliance platform and auditing administrative restrictions on external transfer movements, which is not related to the deficit in the authority's monetary reserves, noting that the reserve Iraq's foreign currency is considered the highest in the country's history, as it touches the levels of import coverage for 16 months compared to the global standard, which does not exceed 3 months of import coverage. Financial transfers in dollars through official channels have increased significantly in Iraq, while Iraq continues its reforms of the financial sector in line with international standards, according to a previous report by Agence France-Presse. In late 2022, the Iraqi banking sector adopted the SWIFT electronic transfer system with the aim of providing better control over the use of the dollar, ensuring compliance with U.S. sanctions on Tehran, and also in order to limit the prosperity of the informal economy. The financial standards that were adopted encouraged the emergence of a parallel market for currencies, attracting those seeking to obtain dollars outside official channels. Sale pointed out that there is a distortion in support for the prices of some commodities on the part of financial policy, which is support in which the rich and poor mostly enjoy it equally without discrimination, and it represents an added, imperceptible real income, and it is the product of a financial policy inherited from the consumer welfare state for the rentier resource. He continued, "It is inconceivable until this moment that 90% of Iraq's population is receiving food support provided by the state as an extension of the economic blockade phase of the 1990s in light of the changing standards of living and lifestyle, the increasing numbers of affluent people, and the growth of the middle class." This concludes this breaking news article. The article from Shafak News discusses the proposal to float the Iraqi dinar as a solution to the persistent issue of its unstable exchange rate against the US dollar. The current fixed exchange rate system has caused significant economic challenges, leading to discrepancies in the market and affecting overall economic stability. The article highlights the benefits of transitioning to a floating exchange rate where the value of the dinar would be determined by market forces rather than being pegged to the dollar. Experts argue that this move could help bridge the gap between the official and black market exchange rates, reducing inflationary pressures and enhancing the credibility of the Central Bank of Iraq. The article also points out the potential risks, such as increased volatility in the short term and the need for robust economic policies to support this transition. Floating the dinar is a significant step for Iraq's economic and monetary reform. Here's why. Floating the dinar can lead to a more stable and realistic exchange rate, reflecting the true economic conditions of Iraq. This would allow the currency's value to be determined by supply and demand, which is crucial for stabilizing the currency. Additionally, the gap between the official exchange rate and the black market rate has been a major issue. By floating the dinar, the market can correct these discrepancies, reducing the black market's influence on the economy. A transparent and flexible exchange rate system can enhance the credibility of the Central Bank of Iraq, boosting investor confidence and encouraging foreign investments. This move is essential for Iraq as it transitions to a non-rentier economy, meaning an economy that does not rely solely on oil revenues. Iraq's economy has traditionally relied heavily on oil revenues, classifying it as a rentier state. However, transitioning to a non-rentier economy means diversifying economic activities and reducing dependence on oil. Floating the dinar can have several positive impacts in this context. A stable and transparent exchange rate system can attract foreign direct investment, which is essential for diversifying the economy. A competitive exchange rate can make Iraqi goods and services more attractive in the international market, boosting exports and creating jobs. With increased investments and export activities, Iraq can develop other sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, and services, leading to a more balanced and resilient economy. Floating the dinar could lead to its revaluation or reinstatement at a higher value. Once the dinar is floated, its value will be determined by the market. If Iraq's economic fundamentals are strong, the dinar could appreciate over time. Successfully managing the transition to a floating exchange rate could boost both domestic and international confidence in the dinar, leading to a stronger currency. As the economy diversifies and grows, the demand for the dinar could increase, further supporting its value. Floating the Iraqi dinar represents a bold but necessary step towards stabilizing the economy and promoting sustainable growth. By embracing market dynamics, Iraq can address existing economic challenges and pave the way for a more prosperous future. Stay tuned for more updates and in-depth analysis on Iraq's economic reforms. What are your thoughts on this article today? Before ending this video, the hashtag keyword for the 100 Dogecoin giveaway is dominance. The winner will be announced this Sunday and will be in one of the Sunday's videos. Stay tuned and good luck. Please drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to add hashtag and the keyword for today. Also, don't forget to please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified when new videos are uploaded. See you on the next video.